Okay. Hey, everybody. I just pulled up to the venue, 10th and Broadway, where Hood Slam's happening tonight. It is Friday, November the 4th, 2022. Oakland, California is the city. Hood Slam Inferno is the event. And it is my last match as a professional wrestler. Now, anybody watching this who's familiar with pro wrestling has probably heard that before, and I mean, it doesn't really mean much. I don't know how many times we've seen pro wrestlers say they're going to retire and then unretire. It's infuriating even hearing the perfect exits some wrestlers have had and then don't. So if you notice, I'm not saying I'm retiring, because if the right circumstances should cross my path, the right price, the right company, I'll take it. But I am far more confident that is not going to happen than it is going to happen. So I have been thinking and feeling and reflecting and approaching tonight like it is my last professional wrestling match. In other words, if I never wrestle again after tonight, I will be good with that. And I think I will be. In reflecting, though, it has been a very emotional couple of days. I've really gone out of my way to get into my feelings, and there is a bittersweetness there that, thanks to some therapy, and a friend of mine's working to become a personal development coach, so he's been helping me out with processing this as well. The 12-year-old boy that fell in love with pro wrestling in 1996, do the math, I'm 39 years old, I'll save you the trouble. The 12-year-old boy had a dream to become a pro wrestler with WWE and main event WrestleMania and achieve everything there is to achieve by being a pro wrestler. And that did not happen. So there is a part of me that is sad because I didn't set out what I accomplished to do. And again, it's like, this is the 12-year-old talking. This is, I don't know how much you believe in talking to your inner child. I think it fucking works. It might sound a little woo-woo, and I thought so too, but I don't know. It's helped me a lot, kind of process all this. So the 12-year-old is a little disappointed that didn't happen. But when adult me tells 12-year-old me about everything I gained through the last 27 years of professional wrestling being the driving force in my life, I am terrified to think of where I would be without it. Pro wrestling was the reason I stopped being a couch potato and eating garbage food and started working out and eating right and taking care of myself. And there are very, very few things in life more important than your health. It's the one thing, when you don't have it, you will pay any amount of money to get it back. So, am I really going to list all the things? I might as well. I've set a 10-minute time limit for me on this. So I've got 6. So I got the self-discipline to take care of myself and eat right. I went from a terrified performer, terrified public speaker, to a commanding and confident orator because I chose communications as my degree in college, because I knew to be successful in pro wrestling, you had to be an effective communicator, whether it be in front of 10 people or 10,000 people. And without pro wrestling being that driving force, I never would have had to push myself. Maybe I would have, I don't know, but I would not have, at that time in my life, pushed myself to get on stage, get in front of people, and get comfortable in just about any public speaking environment. I was so dedicated to getting my start in pro wrestling, and every pro wrestler I'd ever heard up to that point was like, go to college, get your degree, go to college, get your degree, because the chances of making this business are slim and none. And so I got my 4-year degree a year ahead of time. I got my 4-year degree in 3 years. And I went from being, like I said, just petrified and terrified of being a public speaker to being nominated by the communications department to speak at my commencement ceremony. So that progress likely would not have happened without my passion for pro wrestling. My God, so many friends I've made along the way, colleagues, contacts. I got to work alongside my idols, Dwayne Johnson, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Mick Foley, Paul Heyman. Like, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It blows me away. And this is why I'm doing this right now, because the moment in my car between getting to the venue and getting out of my car is like, there's a certain switch that happens. I don't know if that's the same for any other performers, but like, as soon as I step out of my car, it's show mode at this point. This is like this space, this enclosed space, this quiet space is pretty much the last chance I have to get anything out before it's showtime, in my mind, as far as like prep and everything. So like, I wanted to take this time before I step out of the car to actually address all this. So now that I'm taking the time to think back, and I've been thinking about it all week. This is not the first time I've done this. Like, I've ugly cried, I don't know how many times this week. I've cried in the gym when certain songs came on because of how they hit me in that moment. So I've done a great deal of like processing at this point. And one of the reasons I'm doing this now is because I'm hoping to compose myself during the match and during the show. If I get overcome by emotion, I'm going to let it happen and I'm going to let it out. But I want to do the performance justice. I've had days to get overcome by emotion. I will have days to be overcome by emotion, and it might happen again tonight, but this is part of the whole processing thing. So anyway, all this to say, this is not me stepping away from pro wrestling. I'm still going to be as active as possible in the hosting, ring announcing, commentary, broadcasting, managing side of things. And my love for pro wrestling is no less now than it was, than it's ever been. It's greater, if anything else. So this is not goodbye from pro wrestling, but this is making peace with the dream of a 12-year-old that it didn't happen the way they had originally dreamt. But the 39-year-old, the person I am today, is grateful beyond description for the path that chasing that dream of a 12-year-old has led me down. Moments, I use this phrase a lot, but it's always true. I have experienced moments when I've literally had to remind myself out loud that I wasn't dreaming. And I realize how lucky I am to have had those moments. And I realize how lucky I am to be able to say goodbye to this chapter of my pro wrestling journey on my terms. I'm so happy to be wrestling Mike Rain, who plays James C. at Hood Slam. He and I have never wrestled one-on-one. He is so talented, so unanimously respected. His character is arguably the most hated heel in the history of Hood Slam. And what kind of fucked up timeline is it that Broseph is the hero in this context? But yeah, I'm not leaving because of injury, because of age, because of a welcome overstayed. And also this match was supposed to happen first Friday in April in 2020. Hood Slam's 10-year anniversary show, Entertainia 10, and we couldn't because shelter in place was made a thing 2 weeks prior. So, and then Mike had an injury that set him out for several months, and he has come back an absolute beast. He is in the best shape of his life, and for him to show up like that tonight for me, for this match, just means the absolute world to me. So all this to say, there's a lot of tumultuous emotions, but more than anything, it's gratitude. So I just wanted to say thank you all so much for being a small or gigantic or any size in between part of this pro wrestling journey. I will be grateful forever. So thank you forever.